there be light? What a magical thing. How wonderful. Okay. Well, Venice. I first moved to the West Side when I was going to UCLA in the late 60s, majoring in film like other Venice denizens, notably Jim Morrison, and my erstwhile roommate, Penelope Spheris, who you may remember directed The Decline of Western Civilization, parts 1, 2, and 3, and Wayne's World. Actually, I first lived in Ocean Park near 3rd and Hill. In her barefoot days, Linda Ronstadt lived nearby, closer to the ocean and Blue Bayou. Also inhabiting those courtyard apartments was the young Richard Register, who'd already founded No War Toys, with its scrawled, childlike, hand-drawn logo. We all know how that sweet, uneven little smiley face was snatched up by organization men, straightened out, pressed flat, and foisted upon us as a bland symbol of the flower generation, completely stripped of its original charm or meaning. Longtime Venice resident Frank Lutz lived there as well. And I remember the day he picked up the phone and dialed the city government. "We have no trees on 3rd Street, he informed them. "How do we get some?" And the following week, behold, sapling bottle brush, already flowering, appeared up and down the block. Well, this was during the era of campus sit-ins and the Black Panthers. This civic act had simply frosted the cake for me. People power, I thought, gazing at the lovely striplings. Together we can accomplish anything. So my friends and I pooled our student loans and bought a house on Wavecrest and Speedway. How we lost it is another story. But I still believe that power comes from sheer numbers of citizens or from money. And since there are so many of us, middle and poor class folk, we should somehow combine our greater numbers and our economic clout to rule the world. Hey, that's how they're doing it. They get the dough from us to pay for the arms that feed the wars that George built. But I digress. At that time, Venice was zoned for maximum density. The plan was to pave the back half of the beach for a parking lot and to tear down all the single-family dwellings near and far from the beach to make way for a Miami-style solid wall of high-rise hotels. So the North Beach Homeowners and Residents Association was formed to head them off at the pass and rescue the unique character of Venice of America. Well, representatives of the city of Los Angeles came down to berate us and to explain how insanely foolish and pointless our pathetic efforts would be. There has never been a rollback from high density to lower density in the history of civilization, he roared. In what today would be Rush Limbaugh's howl of outrage at our idiocy. It's not possible, it can't be done. Yet countless souls continued to labor on the rollback, including a goodly number of UCLA students, a la Alan Dershowitz, to accomplish the impossible. A zoning rollback from maximum density to RD 1.5, duplexes on substandard lots. Hooray! Another victory for we, the people! Arnie Springer, local political science professor, was with us on the rollback. Before he'd won the settlement that allowed him to travel extensively in Mongolia and publish the magazine Ulaanbaatar from his home in Venice, and before he'd undergone the glorious transformation from blue jeans and cowboy boots to flowing hair and the elegant velvet ropes and adornments of traditional Mongolia that he sports today. Our home on Wavecrest became a firewalk of political activity. Larry Levin moved in, one of the Wounded Knee Three, who, much to the ire of the government, had airlifted supplies to besieged Native Americans during their standoff. He was a personal friend of Bernadette Devlin, the blazing Irish Catholic radical who was elected to Parliament and nearly assassinated for her efforts. While he lived with us, Larry spent time in Dublin documenting the war between the Catholics and the Protestants and getting shot with rubber bullets while he was at it. When he returned, the resultant tape recordings of that quagmire were played on KPFK, earning them record contributions for their fundraising season. Guys in black cars started driving slowly past our house. Then they began to photograph us as we stepped out to pick up the paper. Once we became so incensed at this behavior that we piled into our car and screeched onto Speedway to confront them. We caught up with them on Main Street and yelled out the driver's side window, drag race style, "Stop taking our pictures or we'll report you." Which, can you believe it, apparently worked. Because we were never again, at least to our knowledge, bothered. Of course, under the Freedom of Information Act, Larry Levin got to see our redacted FBI files, and he reported that they were not that slim. This was before Tom Hayden started meeting at our house, sometimes with Jane Fonda, and even once with some representatives of the Irish Republican Army who were tight with Hayden and Levin. In those days, Tom Hayden lived in an apartment building on Westminster and Speedway, where the brass plaque over the door reads, W.C. Fields, Jim Morrison, and many other artists have passed through these halls since the 1920s. In 1990, the building was named the Morrison Apartments to capitalize on the singer's fame. I often thought it should be called the Perception Apartments, so that as you enter the building, you must pass through the doors of perception. Be that as it may, when Tom Hayden inhabited the building, it was known as the Tombs. Folks perished there from overdoses, and the interior walls were heavily decorated with graffiti. There was a lot of graffiti in Venice in those days. In fact, when we'd first moved into Wavecrest, the names of previous residents were spray painted inside, along with copious mounds of candle drippings from their, what? Satanic rituals? I loved those names. Spike, Chuck, and Six-Pack. I did my best to get my friends to call me Six-Pack, but it never caught on. There was also a familiar rubric on the alley side of the Waldorf, a.k.a. the Waldo, since the final R and F had long since abandoned the signage in front. This graffiti, which I passed on foot for years in my trek down Speedway to Security Pacific Bank, now Bank of America, or the post office, or the comic book store for a copy of The Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers, or that Pig of Steel, Wonder Warthog. This particular slogan, sprayed on at eye level, exhorted us to free Huey, meaning the imprisoned Black Panther. Eventually, this response appeared. Okay, I'll have some, but what's Huey? It was then that I knew the spirit of the 60s was vanishing, and a newer postmodern pop age was taking its place, tongue-in-cheek, when it referred to us. And now, for the final piece of the evening. While we're in a political mode, this is how I think most of the people in Venice feel about the current administration. Buck Fush. But is bucking Fush what you really want to woo? Is he even a lewd gay? I seriously doubt he's what you'd call hell wung. Won't you have a tarred Heim dealing with his dimplik? Won't Fush force you to quay liatly in the Pictionary musician? Must you tense your cleats tightly and stink of England as he fix it to you? Will Mush fake you bake orgasm? And when he's finished, won't he just snoll over and roar? He must have a diddle liney tick, because the Theocons are nissies, cheating on their bests like gunatic lorillas. Oh! Sig bissies, who fever not on the lunt frines. They brever even not up the rear. Balcoys in Jack Flackets, Stuvie-Mars in their own films. They're a bunch of bicks who act like Bullyard schoolies. Especially Chick Daney, a paranoid bat boy who thinks he's playing with soy soldiers. Treport the soups, he cries, as he bashes their slenafits and gives them no protection for their vom-hees in the fine of liar. Then, Fumsrild has the nerve to say, "You won't agar with what you have." And you Toland veered to curb your sundry. Well, I'd like to see him played traces with Folgers sighting in the war. I'd like to give him a Potter whistle for the firefight. I'd like to send him through a fine meal on a pair of scholar rates. I'd like to build him a condo in the Benter of Sagdad. Give him just one gay in Don Tonimo. I want to scare him ream when they talk his chesticles. When they lick Stitt cigarettes in his ears. When they nip him straked and dick the sogs on him. Dice the bust, you cathetic poward. Rock Fumsfeld. Chuck Faney. Buck Fush. Them and their tiny diddle licks. Huck them in their finies. Bust them in the butt. Pet it up if you gauge them.
Thank you so much, Linda. If you don't know, Linda was the one that took out. When did you write that?
Actually, Rubin has that. Yeah, they were pretty. Yeah, because that kind of material really flies.
Should have been on the Carson show. Maybe it should be. Maybe, listen, I'll give you a copy of this routine.
Oh, cool.
I'm doing this for the house. You know, they asked me to, if I just happen to
Oh,
have my
is that
camera
place
with
in
me.
Santa Monica?
No, this place.
Oh, this place. Oh,
The
okay.
house
Yeah, there used to
videographer,
be
you
a.
know, I'm like,
Oh, cool.
they
No, there
said,
used
well,
to be a
can you tape the people
performance
that come up? I
space
said,
called
sure.
the House. So.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that if you had a copy of that, you might be able to pull out,
Cool.
7 minutes and play it for these people.
Cool.
Because that should be on. It really should be on television.
Oh my God. Cable.
No, Carson. I mean, Leno.
Well, you can't say stuff like that on.
Yeah, you can.
On the network.
Well, you might have to change a few words, but they could also bleep it.
There'd be a lot of
They
bleeping.
Jay Leno might have the nerve to do it.
Really? That's funny. I wonder.
This is very funny.
Oh God.
Anyway, that was the best thing that happened tonight. So
Oh,
thanks.
cool.
It's good to see you too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really nice running into you.